So how long does the cool pool deck coating really last? This stuff is locked down. I think this has 7 more years to go. The stuff is not coming off, man. This is incredible. Anything else you'd like to add? I mean,
definitely, it sounds like I'm being paid, but definitely give Jeff at Encore Coatings a call.
All right, so everybody always asks me, how long will cool last? And that's a really loaded question, but considering that everything goes right, you have a stable surface, you follow the 101, paint and coatings 101, clean surface, solid surface, so on and so forth. I say it's an 8 to 10 year product. But right now we're on our way. We actually drove up here last night from Atlanta. We're in Raleigh, North Carolina to go check out a 9,000 square foot pool deck that I actually did 7 years ago. So this thing is on year 8. And funny story, I was just driving around the other day and I was thinking back to the time where I came up here and did this pool deck, and it was before I started this YouTube channel, right before. And this community, this HOA called the office, and they were interested in the product, and I was telling them about the cool pool deck system, and they needed a contractor, and I said, you know, I'll try to find one for you. They were like, well, we want you to come do it. And I was like, okay, let me see what I can do. And I just had my first child. I was broke, and I really needed the money, so I somehow pulled this off. You know, I brought all the product up here myself. I ended up finding some local painters to help me out and subcontracted them, and we knocked it out in, you know, 3 or 4 days. I stayed in a little Airbnb in the middle of the woods. It was just a really nice time for me, and I was just feeling nostalgic about that whole thing, thinking back on it all. And I picked up the phone after, you know, digging through emails, and I found Mike's number at Ethan's Glen here. I was like, man, I'm gonna call him. So this was like a couple weeks ago, and I call Mike, and I'm like, Mike, it's Jeff with Encore. Like, how you doing? Do you remember me? He says, of course I remember you. And I said, well, you know, I was just thinking back on everything, and how's everything going? How's the pool deck holding up? And he said, well, I gotta say, it's holding up remarkably well. And I said, well, man, that's great to hear. And I said, have you maintained it? Have you resealed it? Because typically our system is 2 coats of cool, 2 coats of clear sealer, and you typically want to reapply a coat of clear sealer every couple years, especially if it's a commercial pool deck like this that gets commercial traffic, a lot of furniture, sunscreen, kids running around, whatever, just to maintain it. And he goes, man, nope, haven't done anything to it. So this thing has been neglected, and he says it's holding up remarkably well. I said, well, look, man, like, how about we get some sealer on this thing? He said, yeah, I'll buy some sealer and we'll get it done. I said, you know what? I'll bring it to you free of charge. Like, let me come up there, do a little video. So that's what we're doing. I got him some sealer in the back. Yeah, 9,000 square feet, commercial pool deck, big pool, beautiful place. And it's really awesome because I did a decorative finish on this. I really went all out with I believe it's a 2 or 3 tone decorative finish where I rolled 2 coats of a field color, and then I came back with a hopper gun and I just accented it with other earth tones. So I'm really interested to see how this thing looks. The pool is not open yet. He says it has not been cleaned. The furniture's not out. So, you know, we'll make the best of it. It's early spring. We're sitting here in, you know, early April here. So I think they'll probably open the pool next month. But anyways, we're really excited to go out here and see this thing. Who knows what it looks like. So stay tuned, and this is going to be a cool video. All right, so a little bit more about this project, the aesthetics of it all. I can't remember what colors these are. There is a field color, which is the primary light tan, right? We rolled 2 coats of that out. And then what we did is we chose 2 additional colors. We have this like really dark gray and then a lighter gray here. And it kind of has like that natural stone, kind of granite kind of look. And we did the coping monotone, which actually looks like the same color, one of the same colors we sprayed. So I always like having that contrast of like a monotone coping and then contrasting that and complementing that with a nice deck color, right? I just think it's nice separation, nice contrast. Like I said, it just really kind of sets the whole thing off. And another cool thing we did, I want to show you this. People ask me all the time, the expansion joint covers, right? Those plastic caps, if you have those in your expansion joints or any PVC at all, plastic, they say, you know, I don't want to look at those white plastic caps in my expansion joints anymore. What can I do with that? Can I paint them? Do I tape them off? Will your product bond to it? And I always say, look, like a lot of people just don't want to look at them anymore, so just go ahead and paint them, but just know that it might not bond there as well as it does to the decking itself. I want you to look at this. Nobody does this, okay? But I want to start seeing more of this. So you guys who are thinking about doing this yourselves, keep this in mind. Look how we did these skimmer covers. You know, these are, you know, plastic. We just did the same finish. How cool is that, right? And so, you know, when you look across the deck, you know, it's super cool. And Mike did say, he's like, man, people just use and abuse these things. He's like, you know, kids get things lost in the skimmer or whatever, and they're beating on these things. The pool company comes out here and they're banging on them. So he says, man, it's just holding up great. I mean, there's not one chip, there's not one spot that's peeled on this deck. And again, you know, that comes down to knowing that you have a sound, strong, residue-free surface to bond to, good concrete, right? I have other videos of how you can diagnose any problems with concrete, whether that is just a bad batch of concrete, bad concrete chemistry, or perhaps a hidden moisture issue of what we call hydrostatic pressure that's coming up from the soil, vapor transmission coming through the slab, and which can provoke coatings into bubbling. And there's none of that here because we tested for all that beforehand. So check out those videos. Let's continue to walk the deck. I mean, this is, again, the 9,000 square feet, I believe. After we rolled 2 coats of this light tan, which took probably a couple days, then we came back and we actually hooked up, I had a Harbor Freight Tools compressor on wheels, you know, a big one that could support 2 different hopper guns at once. So we had 2 air lines going to 2 different hopper guns with a different color in each. And me and another guy were in unison. We're coming here and just kind of hopscotching each other and just blowing out 2 colors at the same time. And I remember the only issue we had with this deck was about right here. And this is why line management is so important if you're doing decorative textures. We were working backwards and we had someone behind us moving the compressor and managing our hoses. However, one of the hoses went in the water unknowingly, and when we yanked that hose, some water splashed into our freshly sprayed accent colors and just kind of smeared it. I took a rag, tried to like dab it up, and it just made it worse. So that's the only hitch I had. I actually had to go to Home Depot, rent a grinder, and it was either this section or this section. I just had to grind it and start all over. But for the most part, this thing just went off without a hitch. Like I said, I left here feeling really proud of it all and accomplished, and I really needed the money back then. Like I said, I just had my first child, and yeah, I had never taken on a project this size, but I'm just so happy and thrilled at like the condition of this, knowing you got kids, you got suntan lotion, you got furniture, you got commercial traffic. You know, this is a commercial pool, and knowing that this has not been maintained up to spec and it's still just in great shape and making everybody's feet happy, keeping everybody safe, and just performing, and just still looks great. So I could not be happier. I mean, these skimmer covers are just so cool. Like, and it's super cool because they stand out. It's like the texture, you know, depending on how this cap is oriented, it's like the same texture almost, but it's still different. I really like that. All right, so we're here at Ethan's Glen. This is Mike Broutman.
Correct.
He's on the board of the HOA, and Mike was my point of contact throughout this whole thing, again, 7 years ago. And when I walked out here just now, I had a huge smile on my face because I could not be more thrilled with how this looks and you know, everything you've been telling me behind the scenes. Tell us a little bit about like how you found us and you know, how you found this product and the whole.
So initially when we were, it's almost 8 years ago now, that we started to do a complete refurbishment of our pool. At the time our pool was 12 years old, because now it's 20. And it was just time for a facelift. We had bare concrete. And coming from Florida, I knew that there were a lot of different options for concrete coatings or things that could be applied to a pool deck, because there's a lot more pools in Florida than there are here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I basically just Googled a few products that I had heard of. There was a really old product from the 60s called something like Cool Deck or something like that, and did a Google search, and your company came up.
Great. And that's, I guess, when we got on the phone, and you know, we filmed a little intro in the truck. I explained, like, you guys are looking for a contractor, and the idea came up of me coming up to do it, and it eventually happened. So again, this is going on year 8 now. This will be the 8th year of this pool deck, and it still just looks fantastic. And we're gonna do some close-up shots of the texture and all. It's a great decorative texture with these earth tones and everything. Tell us a little bit about the residents here and what they think about, you know, right after it was done and now. Like, tell us about how they feel about it.
So after it was done, you know, our pool had, as I was saying, a complete facelift, but the deck was pretty much a center spot of the whole thing. Our residents absolutely loved it. If I say they were doing backflips, if they could, a lot of them are like me and we're older, we couldn't do a backflip, but they would have been, because they remembered the bare concrete and how it used to burn your feet and everything, and they walked out here, and not only does it look amazing, did it look amazing, it still does look amazing, it was also, they're like, my feet aren't burning, how can this be?
So like behind us here, we have some stairs, and then you have bare concrete up there. There's a difference. You can certainly, you've heard. You
can feel the difference between going from the more tan to the darker tan. You can definitely feel the difference. If you look at our pool, you can see it's the same darker tan along the coping. That'll get a little bit warm if someone's going to sit on the edge or something like that.
Right.
In the middle of the day when it's 105 degrees here,
yeah,
they may want to splash a little bit of water on it, but it dissipates the heat so quickly, and you know, we always have people hanging out on the edge of the pool and, you know, just soaking their feet. And the amazing thing is right now, a couple of amazing things. And I am not a paid spokesperson. I'm just gonna say that. Jeff was really good to us before, and I'm just happy to help him out and do this. One, our pool is a disaster right now. So if you think it looks good now, you should actually see it when it's been pressure cleaned and is ready for opening. We are a little over a month before actual pool opening at this point. And we're also in the middle of our pollen season. So that's why some of our tables don't have the tops on them, and nothing really looks like it's being used or cleaned, because it's had zero attention to it all winter long. Once we're done with the pollen in another week or so, then we're going to get out here and do a normal pressure wash and things like that. So it doesn't look anywhere near as good as it looks, but it's being used all the time.
Sure.
And the second thing is, we've been kind of lax. I know it's recommended that every couple of years we reseal it, and this is 7 years. We've never done anything to it, so we've never resealed it, and I got a kick in the butt from some other board members, and we're going to do that this year before we open. But
yeah, I brought you some sealer, so
there we go.
You know, that's awesome to hear your perspective. You know, we deal with a lot of homeowners who take this project on themselves, and we try to hold their hand as much as we can with these YouTube videos, and usually everything turns out great. And then we deal with a lot of contractors too, but it's great to hear your perspective from an HOA, you know, all the challenge. You were telling me about pumps that went out when we got here, and there's just always challenges, and to know, to hear your perspective. I mean, would you recommend this to another HOA or any homeowner with just a residential little backyard pool?
100%. So when I lived in Florida, I had my own little backyard pool, and if this was an option, I would have gone with this option rather than pavers, because pavers burnt my feet all the time. That goes back quite a number of years before I moved here. As far as an HOA, the amount of maintenance that we've had to do on this is next to zero. Literally, we've done nothing to it. The only thing that we've done has nothing to do with your product, and that's recaulking gaps and things like that, which is just normal maintenance. And this has been for us, it was relatively a turnkey and do it and forget it kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I think it looks amazing. I love the colors we chose. I think that was chosen around, to complement the furniture and the surrounding environment, the clubhouse. And I think, like I said, when I walked out here, it just put a huge smile on my face. A bunch of nostalgia came back, a lot of, deja vu and remembering the challenges we had as the applicator crew. But I couldn't be happier with, how it looks. I've walked nearly the entire pool already, and I haven't found one spot that is chipped up or peeling or anything like that, which is, it really comes down to, I'm pretty versed in concrete and coatings in general. So when I first came out here, that is the first step, is to inspect the surface. You have to diagnose any kind of concrete issues you have. You had stable concrete, you had great strong surface to bond to, so it was just a cherry job. And people ask me all the time, how long does the cool coating last? And I say, it's kind of a loaded question, because
I've asked you that too.
Yeah. I tell you though, like looking at this, feeling it, touching it, looking at the current condition, knowing it's been neglected, I think you got another 7 years out of this thing, at least. It's locked down. So, well, Mike, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Definitely, it sounds like I'm being paid, but definitely give Jeff at Encore Coatings a call.
Well, thank you so much for having us again.
My
it's
pleasure.
A pleasure to see you again and just be here. And like I said, it was a nostalgic time for me. But I left here feeling very proud of this and very accomplished, and knowing that this is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So
Absolutely.
Thank you again.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, Mike was just saying, he said it's not only amazing how well this is adhered to the concrete for so long, but that's what it's supposed to do, right? But also the caulking, which no telling what it is. Might be Sikaflex, might be, any kind of joint filler caulking, right? And there's not one spot where the coating has been rejected or chipping from that caulking. So most of your caulking should be paintable. There are some specialty caulkings that are like silicone based that could repel water-based coatings, so just always watch out for that. But Mike brought it up. He's like, it's the most unstable surface on this pool deck. It's still adhering to that. And now you have spaces, you can see where the expansion joints are doing their job. They're moving, and you might see a hairline crack develop, but there is no failure to adhere. I remember, I mentioned, I think, I found some local painters, and back then, $20 an hour was a good painter's wage. I don't know about today. Probably a lot more expensive, but these guys came out here. This is a cantilevered coping, right? It's meaning this concrete goes all the way down nearly to the tile, right? And nearly to the water line. So of course you have to paint this. I remember these painters came in here, no tape, just free-handing this without dripping into the pool. I could not believe it. His name was Omar, and his crew was just amazing. But I just couldn't believe that. Just no tape, no plastic floating on the water, which that's a tip and trick we have in another video. But amazing. So yeah, this is Ethan's Glen in Durham, North Carolina, just north of Raleigh. I think it's on the border of Raleigh and Durham. But yeah, just a beautiful pool, beautiful finish, and just like I said, could not be happier. So really want to thank Mike again for going on camera with us, and thank you, Ethan's Glen. And we're going to leave him with some clear sealer, and we're going to leave him with some Miracle Mist cleaner, which we also manufacture, and of course our all new Trek all natural insect repellent. So yeah, glad we came up here. This is awesome. All right, so we're leaving at Ethan's Glen. Thank you again, Ethan's Glen and Mike. So one thing Mike said at the end, he goes, I hate how you said we've been neglecting the pool deck because that makes us sound bad, but the reality of it is it never looked like it needed anything. It never looked like it needed attention or maintenance. He said, I'm so thrilled. So I think it was worth the trip up here. It was great to be back on that project again and just hear Mike's feedback. I'm glad everyone at Ethan's Glen loves the product, and yeah, I think this is going to bring value to anyone who's considering the cool pool deck coating. And again, you know, if you follow the protocol and you know, learn how to diagnose any issues if they're present in the concrete, you're going to have wonderful results with the cool pool deck coating. So as always, you can give us a call at 888-776-2242 or visit us at encorecoatings.com. We also left him with some products for cleaning. We manufacture the Miracle Mist Instant Mold and Mildew Remover. You can find that at Walmart. And our latest product is, we launched Trek by Lemongrass Farms. We launched this in 2023. This is an all-natural insect repellent, okay, that is nourishing to your skin. Finally, an insect repellent you enjoy using. There's 4 essential oils in here, 2 plant-based moisturizers, and water, and that's it. Non-GMO project verified. It's seed oil free certified. And you can find this at Whole Foods, Walmart, Wegmans, Natural Grocers, about 6,000 stores now. So we're really proud of this too, but call us anytime, 888-776-2242. My name is Jeff. You can talk to me or Caden or anyone. We're happy to help you. So thanks again for watching.